So in the wake of Trump losing Matt Gaetz, he's picked his next selection for DOJ Attorney General. We're going to play
Yes.
some videos and let you guys see what she's all about right now.
Bondi also making it clear she is on the exact same page as Trump when it comes to his claim that the Justice Department has been politicized.
When Republicans take back the White House, and we will be back in there in 18 months or less, you know what's going to happen? The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows. But now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated, and the House needs to be cleaned out.
I mean, that is as clear as it gets. That is where she stands. That is what Trump wants. She was also, though, very...
So, I mean, to me, she's already sounding exactly like Gaetz right there in that soundbite.
Yeah, she is Gaetz without the dirty laundry, if there even is any, because all of it are just unproven allegations. And we may never see the full... I think we're going to see the full report. I think that someone petty is going to leak it, and it's just going to have no zeal whatsoever because no one's going to respect a report full of unproven allegations that even the DOJ, as George Santos, our boy Santos, went to the Capitol earlier this week and basically made that argument, saying that the DOJ even had a chance to look into this. They never brought an indictment. So what is some ethics panel run by Republicans in the House? Maybe even some revenge martyrs working for McCarthy, perhaps, who knows, looking into Gaetz. You know, like, what are they going to uncover that isn't just more than what people already know, which is there's these allegations and nothing has, come from them criminally yet. So I think she's a great pick because I think that we're basically seeing that firebrand zeal that Gaetz provided. And she is setting an example for a woman in power in a very prestigious position of power who is going to clean up the corruption. And I mean, I think the left is going to try to pan her for corruption. I think they're going to try to call her corrupt. You know,
she's moving from an elected position as the Attorney General for Florida, state of Florida, to Trump's selection for DOJ.
Her term ended, I believe, in 2019. So she's maybe
she's just been with the campaign or something.
Well, she was Trump's first impeachment attorney, and so this is really cool. I think that I might write a story about this. I might not, because I might pass it on to our DOJ reporter because it would be better suited for her. But the idea that, I mean, this needs to be underscored, is that Trump has assembled a brigade of his most cream of the crop defense attorneys who have helped him out in his own legal battles. And that's not, obviously you'd look at that and you would say, oh, that's like reward, for, doing a good job or whatever. But, that's precisely the point, is whenever they've done things successfully for him, he sees that success and he's like, I know that you could, you went into the lion's den for my case, which they wanted to lock me up. They wanted to throw me in prison. So if you have the skill to help me in that type of case, you're going to be really good working at the top, basically, because those were not easy cases. And yeah, a lot of them didn't actually go to trial. We only saw the New York trial, but the fact that they were able to demand all the motion hearings and, seek all the evidence that they were after in order to make sure that they had the most well-rounded understanding of what the prosecution was bringing. They did their due diligence. And yeah, it resulted in some delays that should have happened from the beginning, because nothing about the 2024 election should have hinged upon the fact that one of the candidates was facing indictments. It should have just been a clean race, but they threw those indictments at Trump and they reaped the consequences for it because it backfired hard.
I want to play this one more time just so the point gets across that this selection, her focus is going to be cleaning up the DOJ on Trump's behalf, because what she said here was so key. I'm going to play it one more time so we can just get it straight. What she's talking about, the institution she is now going to be at the helm of.
When Republicans take back the White House, and we will be back in there in 18 months or less, you know what's going to happen? The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators.
Okay, she's saying right there, once they get back in, which they are now, she's now going to be at the head of this body. She's saying we are going to prosecute. The prosecutors
will be investigated, because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows, but now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated, and the House needs to be cleaned out.
Kaylin, do you think they're going to start with that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is part of what I'm writing about for a book release. Is how Trump went from being persecuted by the weaponized DOJ to going in and cleaning house and getting rid of some of the weaponization. And this has parallels to a fight that happened between two other presidencies, Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. I forget if it was, I think it was George Bush who wanted to clear house of a lot of Clinton prosecutors, and I know that was a big deal at the time, because it was kind of a similar argument about which side has a better neutral interpretation of justice. And this has just become a thing that's happened more and more as elections have become more partisan. So I mean, it only makes sense if it were the other way around. I'm sure if like a Democrat wins in 2028, they'll probably do the same thing. But the thing that I'm trying to underscore is that we know that the Republican Party has long been the party of law and order. And this is going to be the key challenge for Trump: is can he do this in a convincing enough way that people look at his DOJ as an example of what it should be. And I think that that's what Trump has got to really keep in mind here: is we can't be accused of weaponizing the DOJ the same way that we saw it during Biden's time. And so they need to, this is what they need to do. They need to stop prosecuting people outside of pregnancy centers, or people who are praying and or handing out leaflets and stuff like that. They need to stop going after Catholics. They need to stop all these weird investigations into people of faith and stuff like that. Stop
persecuting J6ers.
Yeah, stop persecuting J6ers. Do all of that stuff, because everyone knows that was entirely partisan driven. And at the same time, I think it's like what I think that would get twisted around by the left is if they did something crazy, like brought like an indictment against like Merrick Garland. Like maybe you or I think that that's justified, but that's going to stoke the flame even further, and it's going to lead to like God forbid, like Gavin Newsom 2028 or 29 coming in and doing something just as equal and opposite. So I think that if Trump leads by example and gets rid of the weaponization, we won't have more weaponization in the future. But he's got to do it very carefully, but also target the issues that his base cares about the most, because I think that they will see that as just, to stop those individualized persecutions that we've seen.
I'm gonna take an almost opposing, I guess, stance in that I think he's picking people like Gaetz and Pam Bondi to ramp up the proper prosecution of the case she laid out a second ago in that video, that there's been improper use of these institutions that we put our faith in, and we've
go after real criminals.
Sure. So I don't think it's going to be a lack of prosecution. I think we're going to actually see more, but it's going to be turned back inwards. Like maybe they are going to go after the illegal prosecutions that were going after Trump, things like that. So I'm going to play this video. It looks like it's from the campaign trail of her.
Well, I was a prosecutor. I was a homicide prosecutor for 18 years. I was Florida's first female attorney general, and I was special advisor to Donald Trump, Office of White House Counsel, but most importantly, I'm his friend.
Hey, what does that mean, Kaylin, when she says this right here?
To Donald Trump, Office of White House. And I was special advisor to Donald Trump, Office of White House Counsel, but most importantly, I'm his friend.
What is that?
That is basically a role in the White House where it's basically the president's counsel division. So it's like his, personal, cabinet of attorneys. And so what she just listed, she was like special officer, something like that, or it's just a ranking position in the White House counsel. It's not the number one spot in the White House counsel, but it's very high up there.
So she was
it's like 2 or 3, I think.
She was out his knee or his ear or whatever recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in that White House, and we all know he surrounded himself with a lot of brilliant women. How many women here tonight support Donald Trump? And backstage, look at these beautiful women sitting behind me. Sorry, guys, in the front row.
I'd say he picked better women than Mike Pence. Remember that Cassidy Hutchinson girl? She was not.
Was she an accuser of Trump?
She was nasty. Yeah, she was one of the people that spoke at J6, talking about. I think she was the one that said Trump lunged for the wheel of
when he couldn't. There's no way you can in the beast, but yes.
Yeah.
Let me finish this out real quick.
Donald Trump. That was the greatest gift Mark Cuban could give Donald Trump, I think, by saying something so ignorant and stupid.
Yeah.
So I have a message for Mark Cuban. From all of us here tonight, underestimate us. This is going to be fun.
All right, so there she is. Anything else to add before we duck out of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I just want to say that he has chosen, again, I want to go down the list. It'll be her at the top. Served him in the White House, served him in the impeachment trial, the first one. And then it'll be Todd Blanche. He just represented Donald Trump in the hush money case in New York, and there was a really good interview with him actually afterwards. Maybe we can close out with that. And then down the line is Emil Bove. He is an attorney who has represented Trump in his federal and New York case as well. And then Solicitor General, that's the guy that makes all the arguments at the Supreme Court in front of the justices when the government is defending or arguing a standpoint in a case. He was the guy that got Trump immunity at the Supreme Court when,
So he does a good job, apparently.
Yeah, he did really good.
What's his name?
That guy, his name is D. John Sauer.
And he's already been named?
Yeah, he's been nominated as the Solicitor General of the United States. So there's been other Solicitor Generals who are really good at arguing before the Supreme Court. One of the more famous ones was a Bush Solicitor General. I've gotten to meet him. His name is Paul Clement, and he was the attorney that argued the case that knocked down the Chevron doctrine earlier this year.
He was a solicitor?
Wait. Paul Clement was the lead counsel for the case at the Supreme Court this year that knocked out the Chevron doctrine.
No role as a solicitor yet, though.
Paul Clement was a Solicitor General under Bush.
Bush.
Yeah, so now...
Bush 40...
W. Bush.
42.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so here is Todd Blanche, though. This guy's going to be number 2 in the DOJ.
Why do you think the jury found Donald Trump guilty on all counts?
I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I think the understanding why a jury reaches a verdict is something that every single trial lawyer in the country would love to be able to answer honestly. Look, a lot goes into a jury verdict that doesn't even include what happened at the trial. You know, the decisions that are made before the trial, the decisions that the court makes and that the parties decide about what witnesses to call, what evidence to put in. You know, so I think that at the end of the day, it remains true that if the word of Michael Cohen was not accepted at all, then you could not have convicted President Trump, and the jury convicted. So at the end of the day, they looked past what we thought were fatal flaws in Mr. Cohen's story and his past, and they reached a guilty verdict.
Right.
Not
but
testimony,
it
but
wasn't just
story.
the word of Michael Cohen. I mean, there was other evidence in this case, the documents. They wanted to rehear David Pecker's testimony. I mean, they took all of that into consideration.
Sure. No, look, of course the jury will take everything into consideration. That they were very serious. Look, this jury showed up on time every day. They were very focused on the evidence and on the testimony that came in. And there was a lot. But look, at the end of the day, it was still a case, in our view, as we've been saying for a year, that relied on testimony of conversations and interactions that took place 7, 8, 9 years ago, and certainly documents were part of the case. But the documents, the 34 counts, were documents that really had very little connection to President Trump, but for the few checks that he signed. Look, I very much believe that the jury should have found President Trump not guilty. I mean, in my soul, I believe that, and I believed it for a year. And I left my job to do what I did the past 6 weeks. And
well, I think what he's doing that I like is that he's taking into account the evidence that she's referencing, and he's giving it a charitable viewpoint. But he's saying, again, as you pointed out, like he called testimony a story, and the jury was given all of they saved Cohen for one of the last major witnesses that they called in this case, but they built up everything as far as other evidence goes. Like David Pecker was very early on, so they used David Pecker, who was a big fan of Trump, to be sort of the guy to explain that there was sort of like a catch and kill operation, which isn't illegal, by the way. But that's like one of the most obvious things that, you know, this case like invokes is like there was negotiations, like there's backroom negotiations for everything when it comes to big, you know, business like this. And people have agents all the time who work to kill stories if there's bad press about to come out.
I think that's one of the things I learned through going to Washington, D.C. and shaking hands with people and meeting these politicians and their entourages. There's a lot of people and I didn't realize this, there's a lot of people who are behind the scenes that do these type of things that are hired or want a favor. And so they ask for favors, and it just happens all the time.
Yeah, like one of the things that I've noticed too is that there's real life interactions with the people that, you know, you want to talk to and meet. And when you meet them face to face, you realize that, you know, there's people beneath them who their like sole job is to just like be gatekeepers of, you know, who that person actually is.
And we've run into that a lot.
Yeah. And I just find it really annoying because it's like, I prefer just like the real raw person, but there's just so many people that are filtration officers that are there to make this person seem like they're like an asshole and like don't want to talk to you or something. But in reality,
funny enough, you're like one of the people they're trying to hide from too.
Yeah. But it's like when you get to the when you finally get to the person you want to talk to, they're really approachable, and they're not hard to converse with, and more than likely they kind of probably want to have a conversation with you, because most people in that kind of power or authority kind of probably miss being real, you know, a little bit. Like they miss just having conversations. Right. But the people that they've hired know what's in their best interests, you know, so to speak, you know. But anyways, I mean, I think that, you know, one of the actually, you know, a good way to make this relevant is this person here on the screen with us, Todd Blanche. I can't tell you how many times I tried to get a face-to-face, not even a face-to-face, but just a phone interaction with him. And he was very disciplined. He did not ever speak to the press, or at least just like in like micro capacity. You know, I spoke to other attorneys who were familiar with him, friends with him, stuff like that. But this guy was really just keeping mostly to himself, or using, you know, deputies in his office to communicate. And so I think that, you know, he was a very disciplined person during Trump's cases. I think that he'll be extremely. I kind of wish that he could be the attorney general. I just think this guy's a suit and a half.
Maybe he'll get his chance. They go through more than one. Seems like in one 4-year period. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, like, and last piece I'll say is, as I do think that, you know, the left is already, I think they're they're charting a path to, like, say that, you know, Pam Bondi is, like, too loyal to Trump. Like, you know, there's, like, some sort of, like, you know, corrupt relationship there. Like, I don't know the details of it. We'll probably find out more tomorrow.
I mean, it's not like she's going to have the FBI raid Biden's house.
Yeah, no, there certainly shouldn't be any, you know, anything like that. That would be just a bridge too far. The DOJ would never do that. But yeah, I digress.
Let's close it out with this fun video here of the Trump shuffle.
Oh, and, yeah, we're gonna Trump shuffle it out.
Just to remind you guys, we're broadcasting live from the Meme Ranch, and we are going to be doing some exhibits here. So just stay tuned and look for us at memeranch.com all across the web.
Yes, scan that QR code. Check out our merch. Check out the golden hat, which will also be at an upcoming art show, I'm told by Mr. Xvala himself. You're playing that, but I'm not hearing it.
Say what?
It's not playing on the reach.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, shoot. My bad. What an idiot.
You have a disco over there.
I started to change it, Kaylin, and I didn't because you started talking about Blanche again. And I thought, oh, I better not switch it over. Hold on. I think this is it. My bad.
Off the ground, I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy, young man. There's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time. It's fun to stay at the
Peace out, everyone. See you.